Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with Yanzi, and today is the day we are talking about the American comic book industry again as cancel pigs roll and filth, and they've attacked people like the Deadpool creator, Rob Liefeld, and this has kind of started triggering a lot of conversation. Of course, this started way back when with Mark Miller stepping up for Glenn, a comic book guy. A lot of people were dogpiling Glenn for saying that he can't sell self-insert books with creators in them and stuff like that, and you just need classic characters to sell. And again, Rob's out here kind of swinging for the fences, saying some of the same. But what is coming out is that Rob has a rumor out here that the American comic book industry in 2024 is going to go through a change, a bit of a hashtag consolidating here. Obviously, a lot of books are out there that nobody wants, and that's kind of always been the case, even in a healthy market. The difference is that some of those books still make profit. So why are there always these extra books that Marvel and DC they're not really necessary? They're there, and you're like, do I really need a new Warriors book? Well, a couple of reasons. One, they're trying to keep trademark copyright alive for some of these properties, but the other thing is they're fighting for shelf space. So fighting for shelf space between the big two, Marvel and DC, a lot of times ends up really making books that maybe the company doesn't even really want, maybe the customer doesn't even really want to that degree. Now, when the major books like Batman and Spider-Man are selling lower and lower, then the tide lowers all ships. So now some of those books that were there to fight for shelf space or keep an IP alive, they're probably losing money on. And that's a problem right now with the big two. So what Rob's saying actually makes a lot of sense. Now, before people say this is a crazy Rob rumor, and we're going to get into that, I do need to point out to everybody, he was right in with a lot of stuff he said about DC Comics, bloodbaths and consolidating and Warner's being in trouble and DC Comics being in trouble. Let's go.
Rob Liefeld here made a post on Facebook saying, if you see the old guard making a lot of noise of late, purposely being more vocal, there's a reason for all that. Should be better understood in early 2024. Hashtag consolidating. And he follows up by saying, I'm just an informed observer. I.e., it sounds like he has got some insider intel. And we know that there has been some bloodbaths happening over at DC in the past couple of years, 3 of them to be precise. Now, Marvel, interestingly, has not had any public bloodbaths being announced. But with the way that the Marvel movies have been performing in the box office as of late, I wouldn't be surprised if Disney decides that, well, maybe, just maybe, those things are not so worth us really keeping on the shelves anymore. We understand that basically comic book companies are IP farms to all these big conglomerates that bought them up. You think Warner Brothers really cares that there's a Batman comic on the shelf? They don't, but they do care that they own Batman. That's all it boils down to. So I think what Rob's saying here is very interesting. We have been speculating on this channel that eventually companies like DC and Marvel will become IP license office, i.e., they will let companies like maybe Boom or Dark Horse or somebody make comics for them on their behalf. And all they will have is basically the rights to make the transmedia stuff, the movies, the TV shows, and all that. So that's actually a very doable thing after we've seen Disney outsource the making of their Star Wars comics and all the other various properties. So it's not as far out a prospect as you would think for that to happen.
Right. What would this look like? Nobody really knows what this would look like. But if I had to speculate, I would say the comic market, especially Marvel Comics, and for people go, well, Rob doesn't even know. There is a rumor out right now that Rob is going to be one of the creators on a new X-Men reboot that's happening at Marvel Comics right now. Gail Simone might be involved, and Tom Brevoort is going to oversee it. So right now, Rob is kind of big inside man working on like one of the biggest properties Marvel Comics has and going through some sort of reboot. So potentially what this could look like. I really hope to not see this because you'll follow me on this. Marvel licensing this out to a smaller publisher like, say, Dynamite, a company like that, be any company really. It could even be Dark Horse. I mean, it could be whoever. But whenever these companies get these license, we see this with Transformers, even though a lot of people like that Transformers book. A licensed book already comes with a debt. And so it's already paying just for the right for the characters. So now their financial resources are kind of strapped, and that means they're going to pay less for artists, or they're going to pay less in writing. A lot of these are factors. So oftentimes licensed comics, especially if they have a long stint, you'll notice that the art is not usually that great. Now Marvel's already at a point where the art's not that great, and that's where, to me, this becomes really troubling. What would a worse Marvel book look like than the bad Marvel comics they put out today? And that, to me, is completely problematic, because that guy that's working on whatever crap book right now at Marvel is going to look and probably going to have to get a page cut to go work for a third-party company that's licensing these books. Now, you have to understand, when Disney bought Marvel, they really weren't wanting to get into publishing. They've licensed out Disney Comics and Disney Publishing before. They just wanted the characters. And we're at this tail end of things where I'm pretty sure in 2024, the only Marvel movie coming out is Deadpool 3. What is Disney's interest in Marvel comics anymore? When they have big failures like the Marvels, like, where are their interests in Marvel in the future? Are they going to start to divest themselves from Marvel, the MCU? I mean, some people would argue they are already doing it, or they're at a point where they don't know what to do with it, period. And if it's not all that profitable and you already don't know what to do with it, maybe you just put it on pause, let it go away for a while. And it's like, comics are too messy. We have to hire, we have to pay real estate in New York. We have to hire all these staffers. What if we just let somebody pay us for the rights to make Marvel comics? And that could be what Rob's talking about here, which would look completely different for the American comic book industry. What do you think, Yanzi?
We have seen Star Trek recently being licensed out to IDW, and there are some panels floating around on the Twitter sphere and other places. We have seen definitely the artwork and the writing has suffered quite dramatically as a result of them licensing out comics to all of these companies who just know that all they're ever pocketing is the profits from the books themselves. They'll never make a single cent from the movies or the TV shows or the merchandise. So, looking at it from that perspective, where is this incentive for them to tell amazing, life-changing stories with the characters? None. I'm telling you, none. So it could be a slow death spiral for Marvel if they decide to actually turn it into a licensing office. I hope it won't be the case, but since Disney has done that before, you never know.
Right. If you guys will hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notification. Also, Axcend Level Up is up on 9 Lives Comics right now, getting ready to hit $104,000. If you guys will, please go check out this awesome comic book about 3 video gamers who test out a new video game, and when they log out into the real world, they actually have all the powers from the real game, but this time no respawns. I'll leave you guys with a trailer for Axcend Level Up.
I dream of a world carefully crafted, beautifully flawed. This is Axcend. In this game of life, there is one thing that determines a victor. A player's ability to grow. A player's ability to evolve. A player's ability to survive. My name is Dog. Choose to play. Choose to upgrade. Choose to level up. Choose to Axcend.